Number 4. Reptilicus. The only Danish monster to make the list of this. And I know I got that line from like Cinemassacre's top 10 giant movie monsters. So basically this story about Reptilicus is that it was extinct, and then a fossilized piece of skin was the only thing that survived. And then in the modern time, when it was discovered by archaeologists, it somehow regenerated and grew back into like a reptilic giant killing machine. And that's basically the best thing about it is. Now, the only thing different about Reptilicus is that it's not stop motion or a guy in a rubber suit. It is, in fact, a puppet, which you can tell by the pic right here, because it's so obvious. And he is actually one of the most interesting monsters, possibly the only puppet monster that's pretty interesting that I can find. And there was also a deleted scene that I found on YouTube where Reptilicus can fly. And they said it was cut because it was unrealistic. And I have to agree, yeah, it was unrealistic. Those wings did look stupid. But for the most part, Reptilicus does look badass, and I like him. He's pretty good. So, let's move on. Number 3. Gamera, the friend of all children, the invincible, the brave, and the guardian of the universe. Okay, now we're starting to get to the good stuff. Get to the good hardcore shit. Now, we all know who Gamera is, this giant turtle with fangs that can shoot rocket jets out of its shell, and yes, its origin is Japan. But it's rather different from Toho because this one comes from like Dai Studios. And yes, it's a guy in a rubber suit, and throughout the generations, Gamera has been in like 12 movies. Yeah, 12 movies. And he goes from like being like sort of like a bad guyish, good guyish sort of character who distinguishes between friend and foe. And he's actually pretty interesting. I mean, back then he was sort of like a cheesy character, but then evolved into more like a badass character. And I have to admit, audiences and fans out there are hoping to for a crossover for Gamera and Godzilla. There have been plenty of fan videos on YouTube. I swear to God, go check them out if you haven't seen them. And Gamera possibly is like one of the most first monsters to ever be named or ever to be the guardian of the universe and the friend of all children. So, let's move on to more hardcore stuff. Number 2. King Kong. That's right, the big ape himself. The 8th wonder of the world. I have to say, he's one of those badass characters that catches my attention. And yeah. Well, I saw this many times before, the original version. I also saw the new version, and it was pretty decent too. And it was spectacular manner by Peter Jackson. Basically, what I can say about King Kong is that he is this very raging Hulk monkey or ape that takes a liking to women. And basically, I think he grew bored with just native women, I believe, and then took a liking to modern women, like the one in his hand in the pic right there. You can see it right there. And it's very, very, very amazing the way they make the film, the way Ray Harryhausen or Willis O'Brien, I don't know, the people are kind of the same. And when they take him back to New York, it gets even more intense and gets even more dark than ever. And that sort of gets my attention. And the last scene where he dies sort of puts you in a heartbreaking mood. Nothing else much to say, but he really does catch my attention. So with that said, let's move on. Okay, I know what you're all thinking. It's so obvious that he's going to choose one of the most greatest monsters of all time just because of his name. Well, for those of you who know, yeah, it's going to be painfully obvious. So let's just get number 1 over with. And the number 1 most greatest giant movie monster of all time is... That's right, the legendary king of the monsters himself, Godzilla. Yeah, I know what you're all thinking. Why? Why would you choose someone like him when you could choose somebody else that could be top number one? Well, I'm just going to say this very bluntly. I'm a big fan of Godzilla because he rocks. He is bad ass. No one, and I repeat, no one can kill him. And if you say the Oxygen Destroyer, I'll kick your ass. Because he needs no introduction. He is the symbol of nuclear horrors and warfare from a country that experienced it firsthand. He was the big bomb, the big villain of mankind. Now, there's something you should know about Godzilla, because he is a creature that, is a very filled with pure rage and hatred towards mankind, because we created something that was meant to kill all of existence, and that very weapon turned Godzilla into the mass murdering machine himself. Because if you think about it, about his origins, he was once a friend of mankind, but ever since we created a weapon to kill everything in existence, that turned him into the big gigantic killing machine himself. That made him pissed off. That got him very pissed off, and that's why he's taking his vengeance out on us, because he feels like we are the enemy. Because if you put it bluntly, it's sort of true, because he has a right to be angry. But as the years went on, he became a friend of mankind and saved the world from other monsters. From outer space, from Earth, and all those who tried to get in his way, they all got their ass whooped. Nothing can kill him. Planes, tanks, bombs, nothing can kill him. He is that cool. He has been in 28 movies, and that does not count the shit-stained American remake made by Roland Emmerich. Could someone just kick that guy's ass and say that he's a terrible director? Jesus Christ. Anyway, back to what I'm trying to say. Because I'll tell you one thing. I've been waiting for so long for the new Godzilla reboot. They say it's probably going to come back this year or come next year. The suspense is killing me. When is the reboot coming out? I seriously want to see Godzilla again. He is that awesome. Because I literally own 5 of his movies. And they're awesome. And hopefully I can get more of those movies, as well as other giant monster movies. And I'll tell you one thing. And those of you who don't like Godzilla, I respect that. But if you diss him even once, I will find you. I will hunt you down. Because there's one thing to say about Godzilla.
Godzilla is God! Kneel before our God!
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's my top 10 giant movie monsters. Hopefully I can make a part 2 to Giant Movie Monsters, and I'm also planning on making a top 11 badass slasher villains from the older recent 80s or 70s. So, I guess that's it. This is Godzilla Man signing out. Peace.